You are humming before you even notice you're doing it. A rhythm, a pulse, something older than the words you're about to say. For most of human history, that pulse came first, long before your ancestors had grammar. They had beat. That's not a metaphor. It's a claim backed by bone, stone, and sound. Somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago, your ancestors started walking on two legs full time. Walking has a beat. Left, right. A steady four-beat pulse repeating thousands of times a day. Your brain had to learn to predict that pulse just to stay upright. Did you ever think your legs were teaching your brain to keep time? The archaeologist Stephen Mithen has spent decades arguing that music, not language, was the first shared symbolic system among early humans. In his book, The Singing Neanderthals, he lays out a theory now known as holistic, manipulative, multimodal, musical, and mimetic. The idea is simple. Before words split meaning into separate units like run or danger, early hominins communicated in whole gestures. A rising pitch, a pounding rhythm, a shared movement, meaning lived in the sound itself, not in a dictionary of symbols. Consider what a rhythm actually does that a word cannot. A word points to one thing. A rhythm can synchronize an entire group at once. If 10 early humans are carrying a heavy log or stamping the ground to scare off a predator, they don't need vocabulary. They need timing. Get everyone's feet hitting the ground on the same beat, and suddenly 10 separate bodies move like one organism. That's not communication. That's coordination. And coordination kept small, vulnerable groups of hominins alive on an open savanna full of animals that could outrun and outmuscle them. Now picture the physical evidence. In 1995, researchers working in Blombos Cave in present-day Slovenia found a hollowed cave bear femur with a row of neat, spaced holes drilled through it. Some archaeologists believe it's a flute made by Neanderthals roughly 60,000 years ago. Others argue the holes were made by a hyena's teeth. The debate is real, and it's still unresolved. But even the skeptics agree on something important. Whoever or whatever made those holes, early humans in that same region, were already living alongside sound-making objects, alongside bones and sticks that could be struck, blown, or scraped into rhythm. Move south to Blombos Cave on the coast of South Africa, and the picture sharpens. There, the archaeologist Christopher Henschelwood and his team uncovered pieces of ochre engraved with repeating cross-hatched patterns dating back roughly 73,000 years. Ochre is a soft, reddish mineral, ground down and used as pigment. Repetition, pattern, regular spacing. These aren't random scratches. They're the visual signature of a mind that already understood rhythm as a way of organizing information, whether or not a single word was ever spoken over. Here's where it gets personal. You were born already wired for this. The psychologist Sandra Trahub has spent her career studying how infants perceive sound, and her research shows that newborns can detect a beat and notice when it's disrupted, months before they understand a single word. Every parent on Earth, in every culture ever studied, rocks a crying baby in roughly the same rhythm, a steady sway close to the resting human heart rate. You didn't learn that. Your ancestors didn't either. It's older than teaching. It's older than language itself. So let's reconstruct a scene. Imagine a small band of early humans, maybe 25 people, gathered around a fire as the sky goes orange, then indigo. Someone starts slapping their thighs in a steady pulse. Another voice rises and falls with it, not singing words, just tone, just contour. Children who can't yet speak in full sentences are swaying anyway, because the beat pulls at something deeper than vocabulary. An elder begins a low chant, repeating the same phrase, the same melodic shape, over and over. Nobody planned this. Nobody needs to translate it. Everyone in that circle is, for a few minutes, moving through the exact same internal clock. That shared internal clock did something enormous for the human brain. Predicting a beat requires a very specific kind of neural timing. Your brain has to anticipate the next hit before it happens, not just react after the fact. Neuroscientists studying rhythm today have found that this predictive timing recruits the same brain regions later repurposed for grammar, for sequencing words into sentences with structure and order. In other words, the mental machinery you use to know that the dog bit the man means something different from the man bit. The dog may have first been built for something much simpler, keeping the beat. Here's the counterintuitive twist. You'd think language came first and music followed, a kind of decorative bonus layered on top of real communication. The evidence points the other way. Rhythm may have been the training ground, the scaffolding the brain built before it could ever handle the abstraction of true syntax. Music didn't imitate language. Language may have grown out of rhythm's architecture. The anthropologist Ellen Dissanayake has argued something similar, that early mother-infant interaction full of exaggerated pitch, repetition, and rhythmic vocal play, what some researchers call motherese, was the real incubator for symbolic thought. Long before a toddler says her first word, she's already fluent in rhythm, trading rising and falling tones back and forth with a caregiver like a duet. Think about how strange that makes your own daily life. Every time you tap your foot to a song in a car, every time a crowd claps in unison at a concert, every lullaby hummed over a crib, you are running a program written hundreds of thousands of years before anyone wrote a single word down. Your ancestors didn't invent rhythm to entertain themselves after the real survival work was done. Rhythm was the real work. It synchronized hunting parties. It calmed infants so mothers could forage with both hands free. It bonded strangers into cooperative groups faster than any spoken agreement could. A shared beat is a kind of trust you can feel in your body before your mind catches up to it. And this is where the twist mirrors right back onto you. Somewhere in the last few generations, a strange thing happened. Recorded music replaced shared rhythm. You can now listen to a beat entirely alone, through headphones, without a single other body moving beside you. For nearly all of human history, rhythm was something you made together, in a group, in real time, with your feet on the same ground. Isolation from that collective pulse is, historically speaking, brand new. Some researchers studying loneliness today point to exactly this loss, the disappearance of synchronized, embodied group rhythm as one quiet driver of modern disconnection. Your brain still expects a circle. It still expects other feet on the same beat. It just doesn't always get one anymore. So the next time you catch yourself humming without meaning to, or tapping a rhythm on a desk while you think, notice it. That isn't idle fidgeting. That's a 2 million-year-old inheritance surfacing in your fingers. Long before your ancestors had a word for danger, or food, or love, they had a beat that let them move as one. You are humming before you even notice you're doing it. Now you know exactly why.